Alrighty.
And this is indoctrination of children, by the way.
Here you go. It's an ad, so we should be able to play an ad without getting copyright hits, right? Here's Barbie. Hold on here.
So there is a huge movement going on. People, millions of people across the world are standing up to fight against racism. And they're doing this because too often and for such a long time, people have been treated unfairly. And in some cases, even hurt by others because of the color of their skin. This stuff isn't easy to talk about, which is exactly why we have to talk about it.
It's a tough conversation, but I'm glad we're having it. People might think that my life looks fine, but the truth is I and so many other Black people have to.
Will you pause it? Look at woke Barbie's eyes when her Black friend is talking. She puts on these real sad eyes, like, I pity you.
She's got sympathetic eyes. Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to ask a question, Carrie. Is it me or the voices? There is a female woke voice which is everywhere, and as soon as I hear it, it's very clear this is the female woke voice, and they both have it. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but there's something about the way they speak and how they emphasize words. It's the female woke pleading voice, and I hate it. And they both voice actors are doing the same thing. They both have the leftist woke voice going on.
Yes, and they have the pleading voice, and they have the sympathetic eyes. Wait, before you hit play, This is not a super chat, but somebody said, where'd it go? Rodrigo Seraphim says, "Shut up, Barbie. Let the doll of color speak." Okay, let's enough white splaining from Barbie.
All the time. It's really hurtful, and it can be scary and sad, and I wanted to share some stories about that today. Barbie and I had a sticker selling contest on the beach last month. We split up and went different directions to see who could sell the most. Well, while I was on the boardwalk, beach security stopped me 3 times.
What?
They asked me all these questions over and over, and they even called my mom. I never told you, but that's why I sold a few stickers that day.
I have a quick question. This is a technical question. Why do they need jump cuts and animation to, like, you animated this. Why can't it be smooth? Why is there like 3 sentences, like 3 words and then a cut? I don't understand. How retarded are you, Mattel?
I think maybe they're trying to make it look like a real video with real humans that has jump cut.
Like, what are you doing? It's animated.
Wait, I saw somebody in the comments said...
The security officers thought I was doing something bad.
Sorry, go ahead.
I saw someone in the comments said, it sounds like she sold fewer stickers than Barbie and wanted to come up with an excuse.
Right. Yeah. I hate when the boardwalk cops stop me because...
That happens all the time.
Yeah, it's a common problem in the Black community is selling stickers on the boardwalk and getting stopped by cops. I hear about it all the time. So let's see her next. By the way, her next problem is even more severe. Here we go.
Bad, even though I was doing exactly what you were doing. And remember when we were going to join that French honor club at school? Mm-hmm. Well, I made a perfect score on the entrance test, but when the teacher, who didn't know me at all, gave me my results, he told me I only did well because I got lucky. He said
That happens all the time. When you get perfect scores on French tests, the teacher looks at your skin color and says, I guess you must have gotten lucky because you're Black. And luck is how you pass French tests.
Right.
I don't understand. This is not even
it's funny, but it's so disconcerting because they're trying to program children's minds and tell you this is how the world is. They have such a dark vision of how the world is, such a view that they want you to take this and internalize it and believe this to be true. And if you're not white, they want you to go into every circumstance with a chip on your shoulder, automatically assuming that anything negative that happens to you in your life is because of your race. Sometimes it will be. Sometimes it won't be. They want you to always think it's because of your race. The same way if you're a woman, they want you to think it's always because of your sex. They're trying to internalize victimhood. And then what they're doing to white people is trying to internalize this pitying, condescending savior attitude. It's so condescending. It's introducing an element of unequalness in Barbie's friendship, right, with her friend. Like it's making it so that they can never view each other as individuals, and they're trying to put this in kids' minds.
I love that the chat is going sacre bleu, mon dieu.
What?
Everyone's, I don't know. I just love that people in chat are doing that. Okay, so here we go.
Said he knew I couldn't speak French that well.
What?
He knew you couldn't speak French that well. You got a perfect score on your test, but he knows that, like a monkey, you just typed randomly and got a perfect score on the French test. That happens all the time too. I'm sure that's
You
okay.
speak French better than all of us. Why didn't you just stay in the club and prove I'm wrong?
I don't want to have to constantly prove and reprove myself. He supported you right from the beginning and didn't support me. Usually when I talk about these things, people make excuses. They say things like, oh, well, maybe you should have had a permit for selling on the beach. But those are just excuses. People did these things to me because I was black and they made the wrong assumptions about me.
And they don't make those assumptions about white people like me. And that's not fair, because that means that white people get an advantage that they didn't earn, and black people get a disadvantage that they don't deserve.
Exactly. It's
Can I just comment on this part? I hate this, obviously. But the thing that I hate most about this is let's assume that there's some disadvantages that are true, right? Which we don't, I mean, obviously we just mocked the two examples here, but let's just take them at face value. Let's assume that there's some disadvantages that are happening. They spin disadvantage from one group of people into privilege. She's going to use the word privilege in a moment, the white Barbie. They spin it into privilege for people who aren't disadvantaged, and those aren't the same thing. Privilege is the idea that you have something extra that's up over and above the standard, that there's kind of a standard expectation, and you have something, you're ahead of the starting line, or where the starting line should be. You're privileged somehow. So if you grow up with $1 billion and your own private jet and a butler, you're privileged. Well, that makes sense because that's not normal. That's not the expectation in 2020 that people in America are born into that kind of a family. So that's privilege. But being treated like an individual and not discriminated against is not privilege. That's the norm. And if you want to talk about people who are having disadvantages, again, I don't agree with this characterization of the Black Barbie here, but if you want to talk about disadvantages, you've got to talk about disadvantages only. You can't then also say, oh, white people are privileged. It's not a privilege to not have a disadvantage. That's not a privilege. And the reason that they use privilege is because they want to institute guilt on the part of the white Barbie. They want the white Barbie to feel like she's obligated. They want obligation from the white Barbie to act in some way because she's got something she didn't earn. And that's not true. She doesn't have anything she didn't earn. Everyone deserves to be treated like an individual. Someone says I'm mansplaining to this Barbie. No, I guess I'm mansplaining. I am. I'm to both Barbies. I'm mostly mansplaining to the Barbie, the Black Barbie, so I can get in as much trouble as possible.